Good evening and welcome to the end of Monday. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
Doing fine.
That's actually that doesn't sound convincing at all.
Hey, it doesn't matter how we were doing up until now. Now we're all doing fine.
There you go.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Grant, how are you doing today, man?
It's a Monday, and I'm on call again this week, so I'm drinking Coca-Cola that's straight Coca-Cola, so cheers.
Oh, but I like that glass.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the rest of us over here are going to be taking over drinking privileges for Grant tonight. We'll double down just for you, sir.
Now, you guys will pay close attention to Grant. So that was an A&J Outdoors glass he was just drinking out. He's got a Stanley Orchard shirt on and an A&J Outdoors hat on. You talk about somebody repping the group. There he is right there.
He set the benchmark to the point where I felt the need to go out and just go ahead and make my own Grant McIntosh shirt. I sat there with like some white paint today, just painted it in.
Yeah, right. That looks
but
good.
I had to have it.
I like it.
Nice.
I apologize. Everybody's got merchandise and apparel or whatever except the old guy.
Don't worry about that. We will have another conversation like this next week.
Okay.
Old guy.
Oh, we need some old guys.
I felt old yesterday while out fishing, and I thought, God almighty, it must be catching up on me. And fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, damn, what were you saying that?
That's the first time you called yourself the old guy instead of calling me the old guy.
Oh, that was awesome. I think that's the first time we've done that. It's in the first 2.5 minutes of the video. So for you YouTube aficionados, I am just outside the mark where this whole thing gets shut down for that sort of thing. So I'm good to go.
I'm sorry.
Nah, don't worry about it. We're good.
Danny Baker's
I don't mind live streams. How are you doing, Mr. Baker?
I was taking a walleye off, and I like to use a set of pliers rather than try to, get that damn wall. My fingers don't work like they did when I was younger, so I asked the guy that we were fishing with for a set of pliers, and he says, "Really? For that? Are you old?"
Oh.
Yeah.
Look, Uncle Leonard, here's the pliers, and hey, here's a rag. Grab the fish with a rag. It's easier to hold them. I'm like, okay, now, if you're going to release that fish, it's probably not a good thing to do that because you're wiping the slime, protective coat, blah, blah, blah. But if you're keeping it, hell yeah, it's a lot easier to hold that walleye or whatever with a rag.
Yeah.
You know what? I got a question for you on that. Grant, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, man. Go ahead.
It's all good. I was just going to say I noticed that in John's last video.
Yeah.
The rag? I never thought about doing that before. I'll be honest with you. And actually, we're going to get gloves for Rachel here pretty soon. She likes them. She wants a pair, especially with snapper. They got really sharp gill plates.
I like walleye.
I never once thought to use a rag.
Yeah, it does the same. I mean, gloves are nice. If you got the gloves, wear them. If not, though, and you got a rag on the boat, rag works really well.
So I have a question for you about that, Steve. I'm curious because I had a circumstance while we were up in Wisconsin. What is the size range of walleye that you keep?
Okay, yesterday we were on Saginaw Bay, and Saginaw Bay you're allowed to keep. Whoa, how'd I get so dog?
I did that to you to make you look sharp. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. It ain't helping. I'm just an old guy. Anyway, Saginaw Bay, it's 13 inches. So we had some. I think we kept 3 that were like 13 1/4, but Lake Erie, most every place else, they got to be 15. And, I don't know. I like to clean those that are in that 16 to 22 inch range to eat. But, the smaller ones are fine. I mean, they taste good. But it's like, man, there's a whole lot bigger ones out there. I'd just as soon throw them back and try to get something, a little bit bigger because it still counts as your, if you're allowed, we were allowed 32 fish and 3 of them were them small ones. We didn't get our limit anyway, but if we would have, it would have been nice to got some that were a little bit more, bigger for table fare. Did that answer your question, Stanley, or did I go completely around it?
I didn't expect an answer, but I did want your insight on that. Well, I'll tell you the story in just a minute. John, what's your opinion on that? I know you get into enough walleye, you have some thoughts on it.
For me, so there's certain people and Steve probably remembers this, the size limit on Saginaw Bay just a couple years ago, minimum was 15 inches. And they actually dropped it to 13. And so there were a bunch of people that are like, well, I'm still going to keep 15 or larger. I'm not going to keep anything smaller than 15, and you shouldn't either. And for me, it's like, you're not the one managing that waterway, and neither am I. If the authorities say, hey, we need to get some of these 13 to 15 inch fish out of there for the bigger fish to feed and whatever reason, then so be it. So if you want to keep 14-inch walleye and 13 is the minimum size, keep them, right? For me, like the trip when Grant and Jant was on the boat and it was horrible conditions and we caught 2 fish, I was just glad they were over 13 inches. And if they were 13 and a half inches, we would have kept them. Now, you go to a trip where you go out there and the walleye are on fire, then yeah, maybe just like with crappie, the same thing. Throw some of the smaller ones back and keep the big ones. We do the same thing with crappie and white bass. Here, crappie is 11 inches. And if it's slim pickings, I'll keep 3 or 4 that are 11 and a half, 12 inches. If you're laying in the walleye, you're just pulling out left and right, then yeah, I'll throw those 11 and 12 inches back and keep the 13 and above. So it just really, I think, depends on the situation, but I never agree with getting down on somebody who's keeping illegal fish. If it's legal and they caught it, so be it.
Along with that, when they went from the 15 to the 13 inch on Saginaw Bay, then they increased from 5 or 6 up to 8. So you're allowed
5 to 8.
Yeah, you're allowed to keep 8 walleye now on Saginaw Bay.
And that is exactly kind of the direction I was going with that. The circumstance, the reason I asked this, and it's different. We've all seen this for various species. I could say the same thing of a lot of the stuff we get down here. But when we were fishing in Wisconsin, and I'll have that video up this week where you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, anyone who's popping in on that. So my brother-in-law caught I want to say it was a 24-inch walleye. Is it fairly, good-sized walleye? And I don't know anything about it. So he was asking if we wanted to keep it. Whenever anybody asks that, it's inherently, there's a reason why you have to ask that. So I was like, I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is your fish. If this is something that we need to release it. I didn't know what the size limits were or anything. And he's like, yeah, this is a breeder. This is something that, you want to keep in the lake for breeding purposes. This is not something we normally keep. Let her go. Not a problem. That doesn't offend me at all. Several days later, we had a kind of a tough day on the lake, and I caught a 24-incher. And there was no way that thing was leaving the boat. It was going in the ice chest. It's like you said, it was circumstantial. The circumstances were different. This is my fish. I don't catch many versus his fish. But afterwards, I was kind of thinking about, I was like, man, if I'm putting out a video about walleye and I'm keeping this thing that everybody is, am I going to get chewed out in the comments because I kept this fish that he wasn't going to keep? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my butt has been chewed out for doing that. Some of the videos that I've done, and it's exactly that. We'll catch a nice 25, 26-inch fish during spring when they're spawning. And I think I got 8 comments on that one video that I did this spring. That was, you should be releasing that fish. I think I even showed you guys the comments. It's like, here's my opinion is if it's a legal fish and I have a license and I want to keep that fish, I'm going to do it. And I don't care if you want to come on here and be a keyboard and commando and tell me that I shouldn't do it. You can go, you know what I want to say, but
you can bring it. It's all right.
You can go pound sand up your ass because I'm going to keep that fish if I want to keep that fish. If I don't and I decide, well, yeah, maybe I should, then I will. But as long as I've got a legal fishing license, I'm going to, and I want to keep that fish, I'm going to. And like I said, I had a bunch of people that was climbing my ass about it. And that's fine. If you want to put them back in, go ahead. But and same with you, Stanley, if you want to keep that fish, keep that fish. The only thing that I wonder was, on that dip that you were on, was there a slot limit? Was there a certain size fish, maybe 22 to 24 inches, where according to that lake's rules, you're not allowed to keep it? That would be the only concern that I would see with not keeping that fish, is a slot limit.
I've got 1,000. I'm kind of like giving pause for anybody who else wants to jump in on this. But I mean, I've got 1,000 things to say. Grant, what's your thought on that? Your area, what's the general, like, I know you guys don't do walleye there, but for various other species that you got there, and it also refers to hunting too. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the biggest thing around here is.
Oh.
What happened?
I went to make his screen big, and I think I just kicked him.
That's my job. I usually nuke people.
You were taking too long to reply, Grant. So he's like,
oh my God, Grant, I'm so sorry, dude.
Great backstage.
Oh my God. I am so sorry. I didn't know. I meant to make a big screen on you, man. I apologize.
Sure you did.
It's pretty similar to the discussion we had before. You know, if it's, I'm sure Jerry Toner, the sheet smallmouth, I don't know, but a lot of bass fishers don't eat bass. Pretty similar. Personally, if I catch a 8-pound or bigger, I'm going to probably keep on it. But if I had something big, I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah, so for trophy purposes, that's a little bit different. Like, we caught a fairly nice-sized walleye, and he was a couple inches shy of being a trophy, so we let him go. But, man, if that thing had been just a couple inches bigger, he'd be on the wall right there right now. I guarantee it. Miss Jerry Toner, thank you so much, ma'am. I very much appreciate that, especially in light of, how I handle my streams by just booting people randomly.
That was awesome.
I'm guessing Jerry's saying heck no to that she doesn't eat bass.
No, she
doesn't. Oh, no, she doesn't. I made a comment today on Facebook about that. No, she had a picture of some fish, a couple of bass she caught, a couple of years ago, and I said, "How did they taste? How'd you cook them?" No, she don't do that.
So, if I caught an 8-pound smallmouth and took it home and filleted it up, she probably wouldn't be happy. But there's people that do it.
John, I appreciate that, man. John is officially not getting booted tonight.
Yes, that's the trick. You got to pay the guy.
Buy your way in. This is another one. Like we had this whole discussion when we were up in Michigan. We were talking about, we had our whole. It was a fairly drunken endeavor, but we were eating catfish and ended up eating drum. We didn't even know about it. That gas goo, and we eat bass. We don't catch them often, so it's not. It's kind of probably a different thing for us. But my dad, he cannot catch a bass and not keep it. Like, it doesn't matter where you catch that thing from. It doesn't matter what kind it is. We've gone to like ponds, that are probably where there are like pet bass hanging out in that pond where kids go out and fish and they catch it and release it and catch it again the next day. He'll go fish that pond. He'll keep that bass. You see him out there. We'll be on other sides of the pond. I'll go and visit him, and he'll have a little pile of bass sitting on the shore. Like, man, what are you even keeping these for? I don't want to fillet them. I don't want. What are you doing? He's not. We're eating them.
I'm telling you, do that video how to cook a bass, and you get all kinds of views and reactions.
Oh,
yeah, you're right about that.
Hey, interaction is interaction. They don't care what it is.
Yep, it's still a view.
They'll be sharing it with their buddies. Look at this a-hole. He's eating bass. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Toner, I don't totally agree. I don't have a problem with eating bass. But I don't typically, especially now with the amount of fish that we catch, I don't specifically target bass as a means of eating them. I won't lie, we did that when I was younger. I don't do that anymore, but my dad does.
I got a question for you guys as far as releasing bass. And this isn't being a smartass. I got a serious question because we were talking about this just earlier today. If the bass fishermen are always releasing their fish, doesn't that make the population, doesn't it explode the population? In other words, there's no selective harvest at all. And doesn't that hurt the population if there becomes more bass than another species in a lake or a pond or anything like that, overpopulating it because nobody harvests it? They always release them. It's just a question I don't know the answer to. I was just wondering, what's your thought?
I don't know the answer to that one either. You would think, any species that you never release and always release and never keep, you're not managing it. But I never hear any reports of that. And like here in Texas, they got the Lunker thing where you catch one of the big ones and the state will take it and use it to make more big ones and release them. And I never hear any reports of, I hear that in crappie. Like if you got a pond, they say you shouldn't put crappie in it because crappie multiply rapidly and they'll get so many that they'll stunt. So you'll have a whole pond full of 7-inch crappie, right? But I've just never heard anything like that with bass. What about you guys?
I've heard you're supposed to take 30 pounds per acre out bass. I've heard that somewhere through the years, 30 pounds per acre.
That's a lot of bass.
I've heard stuff like that. I've never heard it for population control like that, but I've seen that in aquariums where, you get some species. We always did aquariums growing up, like little saltwater tanks we'd have for going to the beach. We collect a bunch of stuff, put it in there, and that was the thing we did. And some species like an anglerfish, you catch one of those, a sargasso fish, they will sit there and they will grow until they blow out that aquarium. Like they don't stop growing. But some species, I can't name one off the top of my head, but some species, what they do, exactly. They grow to the size that it's able to support, and that's it. They shut down.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jerry makes the comment: no overpopulation. Muskies, northern pike, pretty much okay. They eat them, but those muskies and northern pike are also eating crappies and bluegill and walleye and everything else too. So I mean, they're not saying, "Oh, that's a crappie. I'm going to let it swim. I'm going to go eat that bass." So it's still got to be a ratio,
right?
That they're still eating crappie, they're still eating walleye, they're still eating all the rest of the stuff, but they keep releasing bass. No matter how many bass you put back, there's still a larger ratio of bass, in my opinion.
But that's what they want. They want to be able to go out and catch dang bass and not have to, wait to get a bass. They want to, steady action, I guess. And again, when you talk about predators, take it to a pond where maybe the only predator for a bass are some of the catfish in the pond, where you don't have pike or muskie or anything like that in the pond, and you still don't hear too many. I here in Texas, I have seen a few YouTubers say, "Hey, we're fishing this pond, and before everybody gets mad at us for keeping fish, it's a friend of ours, and they need to get some of the bass out of the pond." So I have heard that, but at the lake level, like you're on a lake, many acres, regular lake, I've never really heard anybody talk about overpopulation of bass, and I don't know. It sounds like it could be a thing, and maybe they don't want to talk about it. I don't know what the deal is, to be honest with you.
Oh, what's interesting is that it even extends that far. When somebody's talking about doing something like that, they're talking about how they do it at this specific location where it's okay. Like they already know they're going to get chewed out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Real quick here, we got to say hello to Mr. Jason C. Sir, how are you doing? Appreciate you coming and hanging out. Hope you're having an amazing day as well. And Spectre2499, hadn't seen you in a minute. Dennis, how are you doing? How's San Antonio treating you?
Hopefully
and Miss Toner says, look at where you find big populations of smallmouth. Big lakes and reservoirs. A lot of room for everyone.
Yeah.
This kind of makes me think of like I kind of have a desire. Obviously, I think we probably all do to get property, get some land. I'd like to have a pond where I can put some crappie, trout, whatever I can put in there to raise for harvest purposes. So is there going to be issues if I did that? Like you were saying, you'll never get the crappie over 7 inches if you don't cull. How serious do you have to cull that? Is that something that needs to be taken into consideration if I'm doing myself a pond and I'm trying to grow some crappie?
Look, as far as I know, right, through research and looking at ponds back in the day, the advice is do not put crappies in a pond because they will do that, right? They say bluegill, any kind of brim type fish, bluegill, any kind of sunfish, bass, catfish. But basically, if it's under, 5 or 6 acres or smaller, you don't want to put crappie in it because they just multiply so much faster than the other fish, apparently.
Well, that's interesting because that's exactly what if I do dig this pond, I was going to put crappie in it. So that'd be a no-no.
Yeah, I would put the bluegill and everything else in it. Yeah.
You put bluegill in it.
Would you have an issue if you did bluegill and trout? And in Texas, can we do like brown trout? I know my family did real well up in Wisconsin with them, but is that something we can do here?
Trout here are typically not going to survive the year. Like when they stock our rivers here and some of the ponds or small lakes here in San Antonio area, it's put and take. They put them in there when it gets cold out, and they want you to, if you catch them, you take them, right? They don't care how big it is. Keep it, take it home and eat it, because come August, they'll all be dead because the water gets too hot for them. Now, that being said, there are some resident populations like the Guadalupe here after the dam from Canyon Lake. There are some resident populations there because some of that water stays deep enough and cold enough that they survive. But other than that, it's all put and take as far as trout in southern Texas.
On one of our ponds years ago, on one of our farms, we had a pond years ago, and we had an artesian well, and that was always cold water. So Dad stocked it. I think he put 100 German browns and 100 rainbows in it, and they did pretty well in that. The water was always cool, even in the summertime.
Yeah,
build a bigger pond, Steve. Yeah, Janet.
You beat. Yeah, I was just about to respond to that one.
I love that answer, Janet. Yeah, Steve.
I agree. Go big or go home.
Yep, exactly.
Danny Baker says, if you stock a pond, do you have to obey bag limits? Anybody want to throw a dart at that one?
On your own private land?
I don't think so, especially if you stock it. Now, there's 2 types of stocking. There's me paying for these fish to be stocked in my pond, and me going to the local lakes and catching fish and putting them in my live well and taking them back and putting them in my pond. I think that's where you kind of cross a line where they might look at you funny, you know what I mean? The authorities, because those fish belong to everybody in that public body of water, and you just took it and put it in your own pond. But I don't know the answer really. I don't think there is, but I don't know.
The only thing I know here is you don't have to have a fishing license or hunting license if you're on your own property that you live on.
Not even
you
hunting.
Like deer on your own property, Grant?
You don't have to have a license if you're on your own property. You still have to get a habitat stamp and tags if you're hunting. But for fishing, you don't have to have a fishing license if you're on your own property.
Oh, okay, for fishing.
That blows my mind. I was not aware of that.
Something cool
but
here.
Do you have to follow?
Go ahead.
Okay, so if that's the case, can I go hunting at night on my property for deer?
Probably not, because in Illinois the deer are there, so you can't hunt deer. They're not your deer; they're technically the state's deer.
Right. Texas is the same way.
Yeah, you can't hunt their deer at night.
So when you hit a deer with your car, does the state pay to get your car fixed because it was their deer?
No. And you can't just, in Texas, you can't just take the deer either. You have to contact game wardens, and then they can give you permission to take the deer, but not necessarily have to give you permission to take the deer.
Really? You can like right now, tonight, or today, let's keep it simple, but right now this afternoon, if I hit a deer, I could call T-Paw, and they technically could give me permission to take that deer.
Yep. They have to give you something in writing. Yep. Absolutely.
You already swore 3 times, so if your ears get hurt, you might want to leave.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like, I assume everybody, at least earlier, I still got that old Silverado that I've been driving for the last 20 years.
Deer Slayer.
Yeah, Deer Slayer.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly right.
Stanley, and for all the rest of the Texans in here, a couple things. First, state parks, you don't need a fishing license to fish in a state park. As long as you're on the shore of the state park or the body of water is completely in the state park. If it's a state park that's attached to a lake and you go out on a boat in the lake, then you do need a license. Also, Stanley, there are draw hunts. I just got the email in the last week or so that you can sign up for deer, hog, gator, all that. And it's like, I think it's like $3 you put into the drawing. And if you get drawn, you got to get your license, and it's a certain area you're getting drawn for. And then they have what's called the Texas, I think they're big time hunts or something like that, where you get to go on a ranch that for whitetail deer, nowguy, whatever ones you put in for, those are like $9 a hunt. And the system is like most draw systems. The more you participate, try to win, the next time you have better odds of winning. So I have not drawn crap yet, but it just came out, opened up in Texas. So if you're in Texas and you want to hunt and you're not afraid of spending a few dollars to take a shot at it, then go to Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, go their website, go to hunting, and there will be a link under there for both systems.
Did they do that for alligators here, or is that just like a Florida thing?
No, there's one for alligator too. Yep. Down there by Choke Canyon, as a matter of fact, I think.
What are the odds of actually hitting on that? Because I knew they had lottery stuff like that, but I've never heard of anybody actually hitting it.
People get it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it worth a chance? $3 is worth it to me to take a shot. There's a couple.
I don't disagree with that.
Nearby here where I can whitetail hunt. And then $9 to nowguy or something like that. Heck yeah, I'm in. Take a shot.
Where would that be? Do they let you hunt for, like, say if it was nowguy, where do they let you go for those guys?
They have specific like wildlife management areas, or they have ranchers that participate in the program, and you're guided. There's lodging. Your lodging is free. You're fed. Typically, you get to bring, and these are different hunts, but nowguy's one of them. Typically, you get to bring somebody with you. Sometimes they're allowed to hunt too. Sometimes they're just allowed to go along for the ride.
Ben, you said you joined 3 in the past 10 years. That means you paid to do the lottery, or you actually won and got in on one of those hunts? And Bait the Hook, you said in Illinois you have a fishing license. You have to have a fishing license to do state ponds. Yeah, okay. So state ponds, that makes sense. We were talking about private ponds. I didn't know that either. I thought you had to have a license to fish your own pond. That's new to me. And Peter says, what if a doe is attacking you at night and it was self-defense? That's what they're saying. If you accidentally in self-defense kill that deer with the front end of your car, call T-Paw.
If it's attacking you, you better have some evidence. And typically the doe's not going to attack you. It's typically the buck that's in rut. He's going to do some rude things to you. So,
well, that if you've ever met Peter, you would understand why the doe would want to be attacking.
Hey, Stanley, on a little bit different subject, if you don't mind switching gears. When you were in the UP, did you go to Big Spring Kitchikippy? Or did you just...
Yes, we did. No, we spent, you're not on, I did a whole Instagram thing on that. Yeah, we went up there. We spent on our way en route to, I believe we drove from there all the way down to Barneville that day. But we started our day, left Manistee and went to Big Springs. And we took the little raft across. And of course, I posted a whole bunch of videos of the trout at the bottom of that spring. And I spent the entire time trying to figure out how I was going to get the trout out of that spring.
They're protected.
Yeah.
In that spring, they're protected. I told you we would have a little conversation about that. When I lived there, I was on two search and rescue departments, sheriff dive teams, both Delta County and Schoolcraft County. And part of our training was we got to be able to go dive in that big spring. And
no way.
Yeah, my oldest son, Aiden's dad, and I were on the dive team, and they allowed us to go dive that. And what you see looks like a big bowl, right? Looks like just a big sand bowl. You get down there, and it's like there's three big bowls, and there's like a little hill. You got to go up over top of one and then back down to the other. And down in the bottom of that, you can reach your hand right down into that bubbling sand, and you can feel tree branches and all other kinds of stuff in there. And when you're down there, because people are always throwing coins in, I don't know if you know, did you notice the coins bubbling down there? Did you see?
I saw the bubble coming up through the sand. Yeah, like little explosions.
Down there,
those fish kicking.
You can actually see the coins are filtering into that sand that's bubbling all the time. It's really cool.
That place, what he's talking about is Big Spring. I don't know the how to pronounce that Indian name, so I'm not even going to try. But Itchikipi?
Kitchi-Tikippi.
Kitchi-Tikippi. Okay. So it's I believe it's the biggest spring in Michigan. It's not. It's the deepest, and it holds a bunch of other records. But this thing is the size of my property. It's this massive spring in the middle of nowhere, 40, 45 feet deep. And absolutely crystal clear. You can identify, if you dropped a quarter to the bottom, you can identify that quarter. But more importantly, you can identify the 36-inch trout that are swimming all over the damn thing. They're gorgeous and a beautiful area. I can't even talk enough about that. That whole I had a lot of fun with you guys hanging out in Saginaw Bay, Tawa City. All gray was gorgeous. I loved every minute of it. But man, the UP was a different ballgame. That was gorgeous up there. Lake Superior. We went to what's Capitol Rock or something. The painted cliffs, pictured cliffs. Big Spring. That whole area was so pretty.
Did you try US 2 when you were like in Manistee and you were on US 2? Did you continue US 2 on into Wisconsin, like down in Marinette, Menominee?
Nope, we were in Manistee, and then we went to Big Spring, which is a little bit north. And from Big Spring, we went to Lake Superior and the pictured cliffs, and then went down into Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
And it ended up being like we came up this direction and then went down that direction around Green Bay.
Yeah. Well, that's the area that I grew up in, and I'm glad that you got to see it. Yeah. So
when we planning this Texas trip, Janet McIntosh? I know she's motivated to come to Texas.
I'd like to hear about that. It's that time of year right now. Now is when it starts to. Well, actually, in like 2 weeks is when it starts to get good.
And hot though. That's the only problem with now. Is it so
very
hot.
True? Which it's like 111 today.
I will be down at the coast Columbus Day weekend, which is October. So I'm just, if anybody happens to head that way, maybe we'll run into each other. Plan to fish the beach, Stanley Orchard.
October 11?
Well, that actually 7 through 10 probably, to be honest. Leaving here.
Oh, really? You're going down there for multiple days, huh?
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're hoping to rent a camper and take it down there on pins.
Really? Okay. Yeah, this might be that would be a perfect time of year to take the girls camping. It's right there around Sharkathon too, so there's going to be some good stuff to catch.
Yep.
Weather permitting, that sounds like an absolutely perfect time to be out there doing that.
Yeah, weather permitting, and that is key.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. That would be a blast. That would be a blast.
So Janet says she's all about it, waiting for us to get it together. I think it just got gotten together.
There you go, Grant. Look at some days off and that weekend.
Yeah, we should have a little better idea this week what's happening with our new employee. And
Shannon says she's coming too.
Bring it. Hey, let's get a crowd. You know what? Everybody, come on down to Padre Island National Seashore, Columbus Day weekend, a couple days prior to the weekend and the weekend, and let's hang out and fish and just have a good time.
There's plenty of beach for everybody.
Oh my God!
And that's about the best time of year to get down there and do it.
Yep, kids are back in school, so you don't have the whole young party crowd out there.
Yep. The fish are out. They're out. They just are.
Yep. Might get into the Bull Red Run. You never know. And
that's right. Ben's going to be there.
You're not limited to just fishing Padre Island. You can run up to Packery Channel and fish the jetties on Packery Channel. You never know what's going to be running through Packery Channel at that time of the year. So a lot of opportunities. They've got, you could get an Airbnb, hotel, whatever, right there at Northern Padre, and then automobile down into the beach or whatever.
Yeah, actually, the ones, speaking from experience, the Airbnbs and Verbos that you find at the northern end of Padre Island versus Port Aransas, you're not from the area, and if you haven't experienced the area, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But Padre Island sits like this on the coast, and right here is Port Aransas. But right here is 10 miles south-ish, and this is where you come from Corpus Christi to the beach. And the Airbnbs and Verbos in this area are far less expensive than the ones you find in the Port Aransas area.
Absolutely.
And that was my full-on Michigan.
Yeah, nice. I liked it. Yeah, and if you get a couple people together to get one of those, it's even cheaper.
Yeah, and Dennis is saying do a live stream. Dude, one of the best live streams that I've ever done in my life, I think it was the last live stream I did, was from Tawas City, Michigan. And as we were sitting there and live streaming, I got to go fishing on the Tawas River, and a dude dry docked his boat right into the ramp.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem trying to live stream from Padre Island National Seashore is if you get down there away from the people, you got no service. So there'll be no
wonderful.
Yeah, there'll be no live streaming. You won't be checking Facebook or any of that. You can focus on just enjoying yourself and fishing. And then when you leave the island or leave National Seashore, then you can start doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, there'll be no live stream from down there.
Yeah, I totally agree. You're totally secluded. Actually, depending on how far we went down, typically we're just going to go down a couple of miles. It'll be fine. No big deal. Regular deal. But you can actually drive down that thing, something like 90 miles, 70 miles, 60, something like that. 60 miles. Okay. You can drive down 60 miles, and you are literally 65 miles from the nearest gas station, not more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing. Once you get on the beach, there's no gas station. There's no place to get food. There's nothing. You're just on the beach. I like to go about 18 miles down. That gets you away from the riffraff, the folks that, just don't want to go that far. You'll still have guys blasting by you heading down because usually 30 miles is big shell fishing. They say two different, not tides, but water forces kind of come together in that area and bring fish. So 30 miles is pretty good. And if you go all the way to the end, there's another jetty there. It's Port Mansfield, right? And man, I've never been all the way down there because usually the speed limit is about 15, 20 miles an hour and you're going 60 miles. So you can do the math in your head. It's a long drive, bumpy drive. But man, the fish they catch off of those jetties, you're seeing tarpon, you're seeing everything. It's just amazing. Yeah. One day.
You get a mix at that section of beach. You get a mix of everything from up north because the one current comes in sweeping from the north. Another current comes sweeping in from the south. They meet right there just north of Mansfield. So you get the collection of everything from Mexico and everything from Florida all meeting up right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny Baker says, if I don't spear an oil rig or jetty soon, I'm going to be crazy. I totally agree with you. I was actually dreaming about spear fishing last night. It's that time of year and I'm ready to do it. Janet says she's been looking into an Airbnb in that area. I would suggest go North Padre versus Port Aransas. That's a very hard thing to describe the distinction. Also, look into Airbnbs for a second unit if you guys are comfortable with that. Like you guys and us, we'll split it with you. We'll go down there and get one with you because we're actually in Beeville, which is a little over an hour away. We'll just go ahead and get in on an Airbnb with you.
Yeah, if you look at the map, you look the JFK Causeway, right? It's one of the main bridges going across to that. It's northern Padre, but you're not at Port Aransas yet. From there, a few miles south of there, that area seems to have the best prices for Airbnbs and VRBOs.
Look up Whitecap Road. Anything in the vicinity of Whitecap Road, and you're going to get a better deal.
Oh,
it's a nicer area. What's that?
Mountain Bushcrafter's in the house. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, NBA? Can you overnight camp on the beach? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yep, sure can. That's me and Audrey plan to rent a camper. Well, military, we got what's called MWR, so we can rent stuff from them. And we're going to rent a camper and probably pull it down. I'm hoping to hit at least 18-mile mark, maybe 25, somewhere in there.
That would be sick.
And just set up the camper and stay for a long weekend. I think it'd be blast. You got AC if it gets miserable. You got a comfortable bed that you want to sleep on. You got a bathroom. You know what I mean? So I can't think of a better way to hang out on the island. Because usually we'll go down there and get one. Like last time we got an Airbnb, and then you drive down there, 18 miles down and by the time you're done fishing, it's like, I'm tired. Now we got to drive back. Where if you could I'm going to walk over here and get in the trailer and lay down and chill with some AC blowing. I think it would extend the enjoyment time out there.
I'm curious about. I would be curious about renting a trailer like that myself. Take down there. A little hesitant, but I would be really intrigued because you're right. If you can capitalize on that drive time and sit down there longer, you're just going to catch more.
Yeah,
bigger
night
fish.
Imagine night fishing. I've never done that down there. There was a. You know what, Stanley? I don't know if they still exist because I haven't seen anything from them. But I followed them a couple years ago on Facebook. Maybe COVID did them in. But there was a company that had campers. And they would take it and place it for you. In other words, they would take it. Hey, I want to be at the 10-mile mark on pins. They would drive it down there and place it for you. And then when you're done, right, clean up after yourself. They come pick it up and take it back. But I'm not sure if they're still in existence. But that'd be something to look into.
I don't even know what to say about that. That blows my mind.
Yeah,
that would be freaking amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not lazy, but that would be amazing.
Well, you look at I gotta pull this trailer all the way from San Antonio down there. Look at the gas, all those things that are involved. The trailer's going to cost for a holiday weekend because that's considered a holiday weekend, like $400, I think, for the weekend. And then again, the gas and all that. Whereas if I'm coming from San Antonio, but somebody down there just put the trailer where I need it. I get there, I stay, and then, it'd be almost worth paying a little bit more for it. But again, I haven't seen anything posted from them in a long time. I'm not sure if they're still operating, but it'd probably be something worth looking into.
I get the feeling it's probably something that was the victim of the hurricane.
Hurricane or COVID, yeah, one or the other.
Yeah. Do you have did they have options for renting RVs and stuff like that up north? I went to Waco this weekend and I could not find anything to rent at all. I had a hard enough time just trying to find a hotel room.
I've seen those what is it, RV America or RV USA. There's businesses that rent RVs, but it's been a while since I looked into them and they were not inexpensive. Put it that way.
Yeah, I kind of figured that'd be the case.
Yeah.
We were trying to get a pontoon boat, and I couldn't make that happen. I wanted to go out. We were at Waco. I wanted to hit the lake up there. I learned a lot. I learned a lot in Wisconsin. I learned a lot from Steve. I didn't say anything about it, but Grant, I was watching you like a hawk when we were bass fishing out in Auguray. And watching you were using, I believe it was a Carolina rig with a, was it a worm or a caterpillar? I don't know what kind of soft plastic you're using. Pumpkin seed, I believe, is what you're using. watching you like a hawk, and I went and I pulled that up in Wisconsin and did decent. I actually caught the bass of the day on one trip as a result of doing what I was watching you doing. So I guess long story short, I wanted to get a pontoon boat and try that again on Lake Waco, and we didn't make it happen. I really, really wanted to.
So that's another thing nice about this MWR with the military is every year me and a bunch of Army buddies, our families get together on Canyon Lake, stay on the military park they have there. We rent places there. We rent boats there. I usually, even though I bring my boat, I usually rent a pontoon too. And then we go, one day we all just go out into a cove, park the pontoon. It's, the master boat. And then everybody has a boat. Last year, I think we had 5 other boats besides the pontoon. We all just tie up together, throw out tubes or whatever, and float and drink and BS and just have a good time out there. So love doing that. It's a lot of fun. It is. It really is.
We will have some similar experiences. If we are able to pull everybody together on Padre Island, I promise you we got some similar experiences ready for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Again, and you all know it. You all know it from the salt. You throw it out there. Yeah, you're likely to catch a whiting, but you never know. You never know what you're going to catch when you throw a hook with bait on it in the salt water. That's what drives me to want to fish salt all the time is you just don't know. And
you don't know. Yeah, that's one thing that gets me is that I don't know what the deal is, but it's like the first cast or the last cast always seems to be something really interesting. You either get a stingray on the first cast, or you get like that big old shark or redfish on the last one. I don't know.
Yeah, our last trip down there, all we caught was whiting until the very last catch, the last rod out, and it was that red that Audrey caught, which was her first red on the beach. And actually, now that I think about it, I have not caught a red on the beach yet. So that's one thing she's done that I haven't even done yet.
Really?
Yeah.
They're out there.
Oh, yeah. I'll get one.
Well,
I'll get one probably in October. I'll get one in October. As a matter of fact, I will get one in October.
Actually, yeah, you're right. It's the red run. They're out there. You're going to get a bull red. If you can get that bait out on the backside of the third sandbar, you will get a big red.
You might have to swim it out for me.
I'm happy to do that.
You're going to have a bait swim service for everybody out there.
I will. That's what I did with Sean and his family. When they came down, we did all those shark fishing videos, and that's what I did. I spent my entire time just swimming baits out to that next sandbar for them. But I got them their sharks. I don't care. Like, that was the goal. I made it happen.
Yeah, Weekend Warrior says shark is a bucket list fish for him. I've caught a couple sharks now, but both from the boat. I've not caught one on the beach, and I don't know what it is about trying to bring that shark up on the beach and then handle it and get it back. A lot more adrenaline flowing, I would think, than just, get it to the side of the boat, get the hook out and let it go type thing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that day.
We have, we're doing this week, we have 2 more Wisconsin videos from our trip that we're going to be putting out. And then the week after that, our time frame is it's just a big mess. But the week after that, we're going to be posting a couple of saltwater videos that we did prior to Michigan and Wisconsin and prior to my family coming down from Wisconsin. Rachel hooking into the biggest shark that she's ever caught in her life. And then I have another video where we went offshore and Rachel managed to just destroy it on a snapper run. Nice. So, yeah, same deal. Justin, you want to get into some sharks? Get in on this conversation. Come on down, join us on Padre. We can get you into some sharks, especially in October.
And congratulations on the new baby girl there, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Congrats.
I'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, gentlemen, we are down to the last 10 minutes of the stream here, and everybody in the chat. What does everybody have coming out for us this week? What do we all have to look forward to? While we're doing that real quick, Mr. Covarrubias says, I swam to the third bar one time close to Freeport. scared the absolute crap out of me and vowed never to do it again.
I'm with you, Ben.
When my family came down, obviously I couldn't film this for a variety of reasons, but I was absolutely dead set on getting those boys some sharks. And one of the things that I did was I swam out to the third bar, which sucks. Every time it sucks. But I found a school of mullet, and I sat on the third sandbar with a pocket full of bait in the middle of that skull of mullet, casting for sharks. And that's how I ended up getting them their sharks.
Nope. Well, I've got nothing coming out. I had the walleye fishing just come out this last week. I think I put that out either Thursday or Friday, something like that. So if you haven't seen it, channel's link is down below and go check it out. That was up in Saginaw Bay. I'm finally getting a little time to work on the boat again. I still got other projects around the casa that I got to work on, but I think I will probably, hopefully, get the video fuel system video done by the end of next weekend. That's all I can say for now. I have no idea beyond that. And of course, I'll answer for Steve. Steve is, oh no, I don't have anything planned. And then tomorrow he'll post, hey guys, I'm going fishing. See ya.
That's how it works. It really does. We went to a tractor show on Saturday. My son, my grandson, and I came back to my friend Pat's house, just sitting there having a couple of beers, and I get the phone call. Hey, I've got a charter for Sunday. Do you want to go? I had no idea that I was going, and then boom, it just happened. So that'll be my next video, is the Saginaw Bay haul from yesterday's trip.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't. No fishing here. We did go cruising around Friday evening. Took the son's convertible out, looking for deer, and seen some really nice bucks. So I did go ahead and put my trail camera out over the weekend. So maybe we'll get some pictures of some bucks and
cool.
Put a video together.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Happens.
We're seeing. I'm not gonna discuss anything specific at the moment, but we are looking into the possibility of doing some deer hunting this year in Wisconsin. Let's see if we can't pull that off. We'll see. We'll see if we can't put something together.
Nice.
Yeah.
As far as videos, I've got Wisconsin coming up this week. I'm finally able to post some videos that we did about that, got them together. One of them being the most labor-intensive video that I've ever done in my life, because I crammed the entire week of Wisconsin into one video, as opposed to like trying to spread that out or something. I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to make one quality video, and that was rough. And then after that, we got some saltwater stuff coming up, and I'm hoping to get out on the water this week. I hear Wednesday is going to be looking pretty nice. So anybody who's interested in the it might be Thursday, I think. Thursday is the day that I'm probably looking at going out. If anybody's interested in hitting up Padre Island on Thursday, that's where I plan on being.
Sweet. Very sweet.
Danny, I'll keep an eye out for that. Is that last time we talked, I recall you had some issues with your channel. Is that going to be on the new one or the old one? Did you get that resolved?
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
We were talking about that, I believe, while we were up in Tawas City, or was that after? It might have been after.
Might have been after. Inspector
And Ben,
Middle Georgia. I don't think any of us are anywhere near Middle Georgia. 2 Texans, Southern Illinois, and Michigan on the panel. Now, I don't know about everybody in the chat.
yeah, we don't hear much about Georgia.
Only one I can think of from Georgia is Strung Out. He's from northern Georgia.
And my brother-in-law that fished with me in Florida is in central Georgia, but he's not a YouTuber, but he is big fisherman and hunter. So
Ben is going to a political thing. Congressman will be speaking at Rice University. You're going to hear him out. Better man than I. I either agree with somebody or I don't. I don't ever typically go to hear somebody out. I
hate even talking about politics, but there's not any of them
one.
There's not any of them that I care for. Just put it that way.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. You're not going to say something on a public forum that's going to convince me one way or another.
Nope, not me.
Danny says the old channel is gone. He's got like 12 subs now. Lost 90% of his old stuff. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that, man.
Hey, Danny, I went to look for your channel the other day, as a matter of fact, and just typed in search Danny Baker. There are 552,000 Danny Bakers with YouTube channels, man. I could not, until I finally went to one of my videos that you replied to and clicked on your name there, and then realized I was already subbed. But yeah, it's hard to find you with the name Danny Baker. I don't know if there's something you can do, add a number to it or something, but just FYI, if you have anybody looking for you just by the name Danny Baker, there's so many out there. It really is. Do it yourself. Just search Danny Baker and you'll see what I'm talking about.
That's where, again, it would be nice to be able to go over there and click on Danny Baker and go to his YouTube channel.
Like in the old days.
Yep. I miss doing that.
Preaching to the choir there.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked. I couldn't find him in the first page.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to find him. He's got to do something different with his name, or I don't know what. But
that's that whole clicking thing. That's a thorn in my side. We have that's the dumbest, stupidest thing in the world. Like that doesn't. The whole idea about that was to try to prevent these bot accounts, which are still around. That didn't fix the damn thing.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. Hey, Danny, here's one thing you could do. You don't have to do this, but if you go to each of these persons' channels and comment on their video, like today or tomorrow, and then they can go look at your comment, click your name, and then they know they'll have the right channel to go to.
Danny, I promise that if you go to mine and give me a comment, I'll be able to find you, and I will definitely sub you. Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say, okay, so live stream comments are a little bit goofy. Is this right now, the one you're coming from, is that the new channel? And if it is, leave an actual comment on this live stream, not like the live stream chat, but leave an actual comment. The same reason, like I need the actual URL for your channel, and I'll put a post out there myself too, being like, hey, anybody who's subscribed to this guy, he got, kind of screwed over. We'll give you a hand on that. We'll help you out.
Yeah, perfect idea. So when this is all over, Danny, go and then comment on the video, not in the live chat now. And that way we can all click on your name and find you that way. Perfect.
And in addition to that, let's get you kickstarted off right. If you're interested in going out and doing a little bit of fishing on Padre Island, say Thursday around 11 or noon, let me know. If it's not a good day for you, don't worry about it. We'll do it again in the future. But if you are interested, let's get out there. Let's do a video collaboration together and get things kickstarted for you.
Whoop, whoop. That's what I'm talking about.
That's how it's done.
Nice.
So on that note, we are down to the last couple of minutes here. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming and joining me today. I've had an absolute blast, but I'm not going to lie. Class is empty. So we're winding down this whole thing. I want to thank you guys and everybody. I want to thank you for coming and joining us today in the chat, Danny and everybody else. Weekend Warrior, NBA, Dennis, Spectre. There's so many names for me. Ben, obviously everybody's been here. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and shut it all down. You have a wonderful day. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Who's got next Monday? Mr. A&J Outdoors.
Yes, sir. Be at this house next month.
Check him out. We also have Grant McIntosh, Hall and Ash Outdoors. If you are not subscribed to them, you really, really need to be. Their channels are going to be linked in the description down below. They also do live streams as well. We do this every single Monday, and we switch off our channels. So if you're interested in checking more out of this, subscribe to those guys, and we will check you guys on Mr. A&J Outdoors next Monday. Have a wonderful week, guys.
Peace out, folks.
And Peter. Bye, Peter.
Yeah, Peter.
Hashtag more Peter.
Hashtag more